Good morning. Today is April 8th, 2020. It is your third day of the week of distance learning. And so let's go ahead and jump right into it. For your do now, as usual, I want you to go ahead and prepare your resources for today. You are going to need something to write with. You are going to need paper. Dictionary.com should be pulled up in a separate tab, and A Midsummer Night's Dream should be pulled up as well. And just to remind you, that's going to be in the Files tab under the A Midsummer Night's Dream channel. I will give you about 1 minute to get all of that pulled up before we begin the lesson. And so going into it, Module 3, What is Love? We are going to continue with Act 4, Scene 1. I noticed yesterday that not a lot of us finished the exit ticket, so that is an expectation that you have those assignments done tonight. I could tell from some of them that were submitted that we have not finished reading Act 4, Scene 1. And so the expectation today is that you also finish Act 4, Scene 1. It's not very many lines, it's less than 300 lines, so it should not take you very long at all. Which is why today's lesson is also going to be a continuation of that scene so that you do have time to finish it and get that exit ticket submitted. Before we start with that, however, I want to go ahead and get into some vocabulary for today. You have 3 words in front of you right now that I want you to look up that will help you understand the scene more. And so those 3 words are bewail, which is a verb, another verb, taunt, and then vexation, which is a noun. So bewail, taunt, vexation. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to look up those 3 words on dictionary.com and write them in your notes for today. Okay, and so if you need more time, go ahead and feel free to pause the video at this moment and look up those words and then continue the video once you have them. But knowing those 3 words will help you understand this scene a lot more. So today we're looking at perception of love. Yesterday we were looking at the connection to dreams, and I want to remind you again that that is due tonight. And so we're going to be looking at the perception of love in the story today. And we know that perception is just how is something viewed. And so we're looking at the way that love is viewed in A Midsummer Night's Dream, particularly Act 4. And so you should have read Act 4, Scene 1, like I said before, but if you haven't, take the time now to finish reading it before you continue with this lesson because it's going to help you a lot. Because the expectation was that you read it yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and go forward with the lesson, but again, pause it as needed so that you understand. So let's go ahead and start with a stop and jot. Very similar to yesterday's lesson. When you hear the word love, what other words do you associate with it? And so I'm going to give you 1 minute to write 3 to 5 words that you associate with love. For example, one word that I associate with love is affection. And so you're going to have about 1 minute on your paper for today. Go ahead and write down 3 to 5 words that you associate with love. And you may begin that now. Okay, and so some words that you may have written down are affection, Like I said before, romance, caring, trust, eternal, passion, respect, sacrifice, devotion, and many other words that you could have put down as well. And the reason that I want you to do this is because, again, we're going to be looking at the characters' perceptions of love in Act 4, Scene 1. And it's going to be three characters in particular. And so, what you're going to do today is you are going to, like I said, finish reading Act 4, Scene 1. And you are going to ignore this typo up here. This should say perception of love, not connection to dreams. You are going to go ahead and look at how the characters perceive love in your assignment tab for today. And so if I go out here and I go to the A Midsummer Night's Dream tab in Teams, the General tab in Teams, and go to Assignments, you're going to see your assignment for today where it says April 8th, Independent Practice. And so this time around, it's not a form document like it usually is. It's a Word document. And your instructions say, read Act 4, Scene 1 of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Analyze the quotes below by explaining what is happening and what this shows about how the character speaking feels about love. And so if you click the document here, it's going to come up for you and it's going to have the quotes that I want you to analyze. And all you have to do is click Edit Document, Edit in Browser, and it's going to allow you to just edit it right there and submit it to me. If you notice, the very first quote is not from Act 4. It is from Act 1, Scene 1, and that's because I'm going to be doing that one with you. So that's just so that I can model for you how I expect these other three quotes to be done. And these other three quotes are from Act 4, and so you will be doing those on your own. As always, I will be online, so reach out to me if you do need help understanding how to further do this lesson. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and do the first one with you. And so I do expect it to be done on your sheet because you should be following along with me. And you should be able to go back to this PowerPoint and do notes. Very quickly, I want to show you, I do upload your PowerPoints, you all. So if you do need to go back and reference something, but you don't want to necessarily watch the entire video, if you go to A Midsummer Night's Dream and you go to Files, I upload the PowerPoints for the lessons here. So like, for example, if you click April 6th through 9th, you'll see that the April 7th lesson is here. There was no lesson on April 6th because it was a review, but I will also put the April 8th lesson here too, the lesson for today. And so you should be able to go back and reference that. So going into the first one, like I said, I'm going to do it with you. So again, in A Midsummer Night's Dream, each character has their own unique experience with love. Because of this, every character may perceive love differently. Today, you will look at how characters in Act 4, Scene 1 perceive love. And this is going to be a great way to tie this into further lessons because later on, you're going to analyze how do characters perceive love throughout the entire story. And so you'll notice that because Act 4 is very short, you're not going to get every character's perception of love, but that is an expectation at the end of the story, that you're able to articulate every character's perception. And so again, that very first quote that you have on your sheet is not from Act 4, and that's just because I'm showing you an example of how this should look, and I want you to do Act 4 on your own. So the quote reads, "So I, admiring of his qualities, things base and vile, holding no quantity, love can transpose to form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind." And so we're all very familiar with this quote. We visited it a lot when we were doing Act 1, Scene 1, and these are lines 237 to 241. And we know for sure, just from our analysis before, that the person speaking here is Helena. And so the first thing I want to know is what is happening with this quote? And so take a moment to jot in your notes, what is happening here when Helena says this? And I think about what is happening in Scene 1 of Act 1. of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And that should help you figure out what is actually happening in this moment that would cause Helena to say, "So I admiring of his qualities, things base and vile, holding no quantity, love can transpose to form and dignity. Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind." Take one moment to jot in your notes what is happening in this quote so that I know that you're able to comprehend the Shakespearean language. And so, what you should have put here is that Helena's expressing her sadness and frustration at the fact that Demetrius prefers Hermia over her. And so, this occurs around the time that Demetrius is being dismissive of her, and she is confiding in Hermia how it makes her feel. And so the bigger question is, in our analysis of this quote, is what does this reveal about the character and their perception of love in the story? And so let's pay particularly close attention to love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind. What does that show us about how Helena perceives love? And I want to remind you that at one point, Demetrius was fond of Helena, but this has suddenly changed and now he prefers Hermia. So, how does Helena perceive love when she says, "Love looks not with the eyes, but with the mind, and therefore is winged Cupid painted blind"? Take one moment to jot this in your notes. And so, if you look closely to what Helena is saying in particular, we're able to see that Helena believes that love is irrational and not set in stone. Hence, her saying it's winged Cupid painted blind. So we know that, like, if Cupid, for example, is blind and he's shooting love arrows, there's no idea as to where that arrow is going to land. And so that then adds to the idea that love has no direction and can change suddenly, just as Demetrius was once hers and he was fond of her, but now he is not. Again, take a moment to make sure you have these down because I do expect this to be put in your assignment. I expect to see this when I open your assignment that you have this exact example in that first row. And so, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and release you into your independent practice for today. Again, you're going to go to General Assignments, April 8th, 2020, Independent Practice, and it's going to show you that exact document that I just showed you, except now you have 3 additional quotes, all from Act 4, and I want you to do the exact same thing. Tell me the character that said it, what is happening there. And again, that's going to help me know that you understand the Shakespearean language because I will review that again if it's something that needs to be done. And then you're going to tell me, based on what is happening in that scene and what that character is saying, what does that tell us about how they perceive or how they view love? And so this is due tomorrow night by 11:59 p.m. And I just want to remind you that your independent practice for yesterday's lesson is due tonight. So the connections to dreams is due tonight. I did extend it a day just as I'm doing this assignment. You're having 2 days to do it because I do want you to reach out if you have those questions. Thank you to those people that did reach out to me yesterday with questions. Again, my laptop is always open, ready to help you. And so please don't hesitate to send me a message in a chat or to just post it in the channel for everyone to see because people probably have the same questions as you. And so, as always, ask questions if needed. Once again, I cannot stress it enough. Otherwise, enjoy your day. Please make sure to get those assignments turned into me, and I will be reaching out to you if I see that they have not been turned in because I want to give you that feedback right away. Thank you all very much, and have a great day.